What's up, everybody? Welcome to PLD Project Scoundrels of the Force. I'm here talking to you every other week, it seems, but try to make it weekly. We're seeing what we do, but we're so far failing a little bit. But that's okay. That's okay. We are here at least every other week talking Star Wars. It's kind of strange because we are done with the Bad Batch. We're done with the Bad Batch for now, at least until the next season comes out. We don't have anything officially going on Star Wars wise as far as television shows go, cartoons or movies. So we're kind of going back to what we originally were doing and breaking down some of the movies, breaking down some of the news as far as it go. But you know, we'll make do. We'll do what we do best. You know what I'm saying? Good to see you there, Tim. Thanks for stopping by. But without further ado, let's bring in our scoundrel team. First off, my newsman, my right hand man, the Ken Knapsack of the Scoundrels of the Force, Mr. Matty Gunner, my friend. How are you?
I say that one time. One time.
I'm not gonna let you live it down.
You know what?
That, right?
I'll take it because I listen to Force Center on a regular basis. Other than us, I think they are the best unofficial Star Wars podcast. I'm a student of Ken Knapsack and Joseph Scrimshaw. So, you know what? I'll fucking take that and I'm along with it.
You should. That is a compliment because Ken is one of the best guys I've known, especially when it comes to Star Wars. What I love about Ken. He's just so positive about everything with it. He doesn't like ever counting on the negative too much.
He's the only person I've ever heard speak very highly on Rise of Skywalker. So
I will too, but that's okay. And you'll see when we get there. We have that episode discussion. We'll get there.
Most importantly, how are you, man? Like you've been out here busy. You're now commentating for the FCL, killing it. How are you, buddy?
Very, like you said, busy. It's very tiring. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I power myself on whiskey and bad and regrets, and then it's pushing forward and making things work. But I do love what I do. I'm not gonna lie. I love what I do with the FCL. I'm loving that. I'm working more with the movie trivia show now with PJ as well. I've been doing a lot of work on that. Absolutely, you've been seeing the action industry's chatter and stuff going on there. They have a new podcast there. We're revamping some things there. So it's been a little bit of a busy time, which unfortunately, the only downside of that, it takes away from my PLD project cycle. I mean, I still only have the Scoundrels of the Force show. I have like all these ideas for shows to do on this channel, and I can't do them because I don't have time. I'm not going to get this in at this point, but I will. I'm inching closer and closer. I really do think soon you will see me start, not the Harris-Thoughts, unfortunately. I still can't crack how I want to do it, but I am going to be doing a Queen podcast soon, I think. And I got to figure out I think I have the magic ingredients. I think I have it ready to go how I'm going to do it. But I'm still working a little bit.
So it's a kind of magic, is what you're saying?
It's a kind of magic. I like what you did there. But you know what? We're talking. We're convention. We're bullshitting here. There we still have somebody in the background waiting. Let's bring him on now. Our other scoundrel, my brother from another mother, from an Estonian mother, Richard Eric Jarvie. How are you doing, my friend?
What's going on, dude? The only thing that we're not positive on is Liam. Everything else we're as high as Ken Knapsack.
You're right. I wonder if even Ken Knapsack could be positive about Liam. I don't know. We'll have to see. He probably could be, but that's our fault. Our flaw in the perfection of this show is that we can't be positive about Liam. Fuck Liam.
I think it was Jared Butler who said he's built on scotch and bad decisions, is what you were trying to say, right?
I think that's what I was trying to say. I couldn't quite make it. I was like, regrets on
There's some regrets and whiskey.
Something along that line. I was trying to paraphrase without ripping it off completely. But I like that you caught it and went with it. That's why we're friends, man. That's why we're friends. Well, without further ado, let's get into the news. Kind of a slow news week this week. Matty.
The news, the first, before you even say the news, I didn't even think the first one was even a real thing. I thought you were fucking with us, that this is then I Googled it. I'm like, yeah, this was an actual news piece. So just go ahead.
Yeah. So if you type in Star Wars news on Google, this is the main story that comes up. Mark Hamill responded to a fan who said Mark Hamill could probably tweet his own name and get thousands of likes. So Mark Hamill tweeted his own name. Being Mark Hamill, tweeted his own name, and lo and behold, got thousands of likes to the point where now even George Takei, who's a completely different franchise, the opposing franchise, if you will, tweeted out, Mark Hamill, let's see how this goes.
I love Mark Hamill so much, and I do think, in a way, if you watch his Twitter, he's a great Twitter follow.
Oh, he's amazing.
He does this a lot. People kind of do this to him a lot. They kind of say, "I bet you Mark Hamill can do this," and then he does it. But this has been probably the most successful of it. He's almost like a little bit of the anchorman of Star Wars. You put anything in front of him and go, "Yeah, sure, I'll tweet it and see what happens." But this one, I was like, "Oh, what 300? Like, I don't know how many likes it was. Let's look it up to see what it is. What is at right now? I'm gonna look it up right now, live in person. Let's see how many likes this thing has
Jarvie, you're an actor. I want you to tweet your own name and see how many likes you get.
You know, I used to do this
Wow.
dumb shit that I on Facebook once a year. I just posted the word Facebook. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. you didn't get 580.8 thousand likes.
Yeah, it's around 500,000. Yeah,
580.8K likes from that. From Mark Hamill just tweeting his name. 34.k retweets alone, and then 5.1k. And well, we're breaking news, guys. Breaking news. It's now 580.9k.
Wow, so it's still going as
It's
we're
still going
on
up.
the air.
It's still going up.
I think leave it open. We're gonna need an update as we go throughout.
I will. I'll check out before the end of the show. I'll keep little intermissions. I'll go, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what it is. This is where we are now.
At the end of
Mark Hamill watch.
At the end of the segment, we want to know how he's doing.
So what does this mean for the franchise?
Mark
Hamill's coming back, right? Oh man, but
I don't know where
I love
the
that
voice
anyway.
came from, though.
It's a positive thing for the franchise. It's fun, and if that's the news of the week, that's a fine news to have. It's fun. So
yeah.
Oh, we did have one more bit, Maddie. What else would we have?
So in an interview with, I believe it was comicbook.com. I mean, I don't care who it was with because it's a fucking sweet bit of news. Asajj Ventress voice actor Greg Griffin would love to bring the character back to finish the story of Asajj.
Well, that's interesting. First, I just want to say real quick, hey, Ed, good to see you in the chat as always. And, of course, Quiz Show, just on with Maddie talking Shang-Chi. That's Show Me the Money. She'll give them a look-see and a follow.
Yeah, go look that interview. Go look that discussion up. We had a great time. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Literally just finished it before coming on this show. So, like PLD, I'm a busy boy.
I gotta say, every once in a while, if I find more time, I'd love to have us just start doing more than Star Wars. Like have a Star Wars set and have like another just random film set thing or something like that. Maybe someday we'll work on that. We'll think about that somehow because we had a great conversation about Shang-Chi just about like while we're backstage talking whatever. So we'll think about that. We'll put that in possibilities. But anyway, going back to this piece, Asajj Ventress voice actor Greg Griffin love to bring the character back. Well, my first response is, well, duh. I mean, like if you're voicing a Star Wars character, you want him to be around. You want to do more character. You want to do more with the characters. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's a good paycheck. It's good fun. It's everything else. As far as what she would do, though, or what Asajj could do, I mean, it would have to be a different situation. I mean, because obviously, spoilers. I mean, she's. And
that helps. Thank you for not spoiling this.
I mean,
she puts her finger on her throat.
She didn't. She drew lipstick on her.
Nothing goes over my head.
Listen, Javi, you're on a Star Wars podcast. You're supposed to know key facts about Star Wars if you're on a Star Wars podcast.
Especially a book that's been out for like 2-3 years now. I think
this can't be news for you that I'm not the expert. I'm just a fanboy here, and
that's what we have.
Maybe just a beginner fanboy compared.
Well,
to
then
guys.
Spoilers aside, I'll let you spoil. I'm gonna have to spoil you anyway, Jarvie. Just so you know, the character was pulled off in a book, which was actually an adaptation of a Clone Wars arc. Back when the Clone Wars ended, before it came back, they gave the scripts to the book, and this was the end of the character.
That's what they need to bring her back for. Give me Dark Disciple.
You want to do Dark Disciple as adaptation? Wow. Interesting to see.
I don't care if it's animated. I don't care. I would love for it to be live action because I'm an advocate for Zhang Zi from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon playing a live action Asajj Ventress. I think she would absolutely destroy the role.
Oh, absolutely.
But I need to see that on screen. It's enough for me to imagine it while I'm reading the book, but I want to see it.
I do feel like there's going to come a time when they decide. Like I think when Disney began its run, it seemed kind of like they were so precious about canon that they couldn't adapt it because they wouldn't want to screw anything up or change anything, and it'd be too hard because you don't want to. You'd have to make a little adaptation because you don't want to screw with canon. But I kind of feel as time goes on, maybe we'll get there. Although I have to say, without Filoni, I kind of feeling Filoni's not going to be interested at this point. I think Filoni's moving on at this point. He's done his Clone Wars bit. I mean, maybe, but I think it would be a long time in the future before Filoni would want to revisit that, considering I think Filoni's a busy boy right now and trying to do a lot of other stuff. Yeah. And can he do it without Filoni? I mean, he could. He could live action, but it seems like it'd be a little weird to have it without Filoni's like solid input. But you know what? Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
So, just say. But you know, another way you could bring her back. You could bring her back in other ways. You could. There's always ways to bring her back. You can have her in a different time period. You could do a flashback. You could do anything. Kenobi could have a flashback from that. I don't know why. It's another idea. Again, flashback from, especially because we don't know. We still don't really officially know how they're bringing, like, if Anakin's going to be there in flashbacks, because that was like positive for a while with Hayden coming back as Darth Vader. We're going to show him more in full Vader garb, or are they going to show him in flashbacks with Anakin? That would actually have Asajj do it that way. Although, you know, there are definitely more spoilers since we last talked about that kind of situation.
Yep, thanks, Internet. I now exactly know how the fuck he looks.
Who exactly? Hayden?
Hayden.
Yep.
I've seen pictures. Like when I was looking up for the last episode, when I was looking up the news, big fucking glaring image. Like right there. I was like, God.
Was it Hayden himself, or was it just the artwork? I can't remember now. It was actually Hayden in.
It was actually Hayden in the suit.
Oh, okay.
So in the suit, so okay.
In the Vader suit.
Okay.
But you see Hayden.
Seen it.
You see Hayden.
You see Hayden though. So it's interesting. Is
it like too spoilery, or?
I mean.
Enough.
I'm Googling it now.
Not to kill the story, but to like see, like, okay, we know we're getting Hayden as Vader as opposed to Hayden in a flashback as Anakin. I mean, that might still happen, but like I wanted it to be something that I saw for like the first time on the screen, like if they take his mask off or whatever and see Hayden there. Like, but then I saw it online. I was like, fuck, like, why the fuck do people put this shit out?
People love getting clickbait. That's why they love getting clicks. I did not see Hayden. I only saw the artwork for it myself. So I'm actually happy that it didn't. That's true. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it's true. You also technically, speaking of today's episode, you do technically see it really briefly in this one as well. At least the back of his head. At least the back of his head. But
Maddie is not amused by this joke.
Maddie's not amused at all.
I don't. I hate shit being spoiled for me. I hate it.
I get it. I agree.
I get these websites. They need to get clicks and
your hate.
I'm embracing the dark side right now. Like, I get that you guys need to have clicks and you need to get traffic to your website, but for fuck's sake, like, some of us actually want to watch the shit.
I agree. And like, it's funny, like during the prequel time, I was a big spoiler guy at first. I hoarded all the spoilers, but I only hoarded the spoilers to a point. Like, I know at one point I used to run Fatooine, which is a Star Wars forum, and we used to get all of them.
What was the title?
Fatooine. PHATOOINE.
Oh, wow. Let me guess. Was that in the 90s by any chance?
It was during the early 2000s. But
okay.
Yo, Cowboy, what's up? My boy from Estonia.
What's going on? But I used to collect all the news bits. And I used to collect all the spoilers. But it got to the point where like the script was leaked like 3 weeks earlier, and I was like, yeah, that's too much. It's way too much. Even I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna freaking read the script. That's just ridiculous. But it is what it is. It's the world now. I've gone lesser involved with spoilers. I don't do spoilers hardly at all anymore. I do the trailers. But sometimes the only problem with me is I do have that kind of kid in Christmas morning kind of feel. Like, so if somebody shoves something at my face, I'm kind of like,
yep.
I don't want to look. I kind of do.
So,
look who's here.
Hello.
Oh, so good to see you. Hopefully
so you can comment in the YouTube chat, but you can't text me back? Okay, cool.
Wow.
I see how it is. I see how it is, Bedore.
Out. You're calling her out, Maddie. She's going to kill you. She'll kill you.
Cool. Worth it, because I want to die anyway because she hasn't texted me back, and it broke my heart.
Well, Bedore, I love you, and you can text me anytime you want to text me. I know, and we're hoping to have you back on some point. Definitely need a little bit of a female energy on the show because we're definitely too much.
I mean, I know I got the long hair and everything, but like, it's not really.
Not
We'll
quite
do
so.
for now. We'll do for now.
All right. Now, before we get into our main subject of the day, is now up to 581.4K.
Oh shit!
Just in that little time we've talked, it's got up that high.
Oh shit!
500. So we're still going.
Hammer watch is the Hammer watch is going strong.
The Hammer Watch is going strong at this point. Okay, we're going to get into the movie of the week or whatever, bi-week, the movie of the episode, The Empire Strikes Back. And I'm going to say right off the top of the bat, I've said this before, but in case it's their first time watching, the first movie I ever saw in the movie theater, and it's still to this date my number one movie of all time.
This is your
Yes.
first movie in the theater.
Yes.
Yes.
You were 3 years old, right?
I was like 3 years
Yeah.
old, and I don't remember that. I remember one thing about it. The only thing I had any recollection of at all was being scared to death of Yoda. That's exactly what it is.
I listened to the
Not Vader.
episode of Empire Strikes Back. I listened to your entire phone call as well. Like, yeah, it was
That's
fun.
right. Oh, yeah, May. Those were the days when I got to
Dude, it was
call
so
him.
funny to hear you, like, because at that point you were just like a full-blown fanboy. You weren't working with them, so you were like just gushing to be on there. Like, it was so funny to listen to.
It's actually funny you mentioned that because I was on. I sent a donation to Backstage, and Ben talked about it with Ben. Ben talked about it. Ben mentioned me and then gave me the whole story about the first time I ever called in for the Crow.
That was a Crow, right?
It's a Crow. He was like, he loves the Crow. And you could tell he was nervous. And he just
Yeah.
want to talk. He just want to talk real quick and everything else. And it was funny because they didn't know
Talk
me the first
really
time he heard
fast.
me. Dude, I did. I talk like a million miles. I talk fast anyway. When I get really hyped up and energetic, can't stop me.
I mean, you're from New York. That happens.
That's true. It does.
I would remember watching AMA and like you guys would be brought up and like they would talk about Jarvi from Estonia. I was like, who the fuck is this Jarvi? Like he's watching from Estonia? Like this show on the internet, he's watching it from Estonia. I need to meet these guys, and now I'm gonna show you guys. Say, this is a dream come true for me, man. Mama, I made it.
This is what AMA did. This is
It
what
really
AMA
is.
did. I remember just the same way like you heard about us. I heard what was the dude's name on AMA that used to get all the shout outs, like the OGest of fans on AMA. Do you remember the name? Like he was Matty as well, or no? Like Matt something.
Oh God, I know what you're talking about.
You do remember, right?
I do remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been so long.
But there was a dude who got called out like every time. So damn, I want to get on that level of like for them to like call me by my name. So I'm just gonna start commenting, like watch live all the time. I'm just gonna put in the work, and it worked.
Yeah, then Matty Gunner came after it. I remember the day Matty Gunner came out. I remember the day Matty Gunner got on the radar more than normal was when I told him, I said, Matty Gunner is followed on Twitter by Tom Cruise.
Yep, my best friend in the world, Tom Cruise.
And Ben and Drew literally lost their shit.
Oh, and
What's up, Drew? That's valid.
Kevin
Hey.
Smith liked our tweet like way before when he was on
Yeah.
Schmodown.
He did like our
He
tweet for class
liked our
action.
tweet.
That's right. It's exciting for us. Very exciting news.
That's my moment to fame. Anyway, we got to get back on track.
Yeah, we're gonna get back.
Yeah,
We're
right.
really getting off topic here. Empire Strikes Back, the best movie I've ever seen in my life. What were you guys' thoughts? Like, just overall thoughts. Like, where does it rank on your list? Go ahead, Ben. Why don't you start us off?
So this is number one, and I tweeted before the show that this is not up for debate. I love Mark Ellis. This is not up for debate. Empire is the best. Empire is the one. Empire is. I remember watching it and being like, "Holy shit!" Han Solo is so cool. Luke becomes a badass. And I actually have a question for you guys because, like, I've just made my thoughts pretty clear. Do you think if this movie? This is a two-part question.
Okay.
If this came out today, one, do you think they are able to keep the Luke, I am your father secret? Two, does it hit as hard coming out today?
And 3, would Han Solo get destroyed by today's culture?
He would.
he was
Potentially.
he
I'd
gets
say that.
so weird with Leia.
Did
It
you
does
think
get a
that?
little
Do you think
pushy.
that secret gets kept? Obviously, we've just seen in the gallery they managed somehow to keep the Luke Skywalker secret.
Actually, I would have said no until I saw that. I almost feel like they're working extra overtime. Although that would have been tough. That would have been tough. It would have been much tougher than it was back in the day.
I think they would have, because
I
we've
think they
come
might.
around now. Like,
I-
because we do have the big reveals in Marvel movies as well.
Yeah, but some of those get leaked too. So it's kind of it's a questionable thing. I mean, it definitely would have been a lot harder. But that, you know what? Bador brings up a great point.
Yeah, the German. Actually, that was in Pitch Perfect, the movie where they talk about like Vader meaning father in German.
Vader's
And that's a good point. Like people and they have the internet now, and they look, and people I feel like people definitely look into things a lot more than they ever did back in the day. People didn't care. It was like, we'll just wait and see what happens. Oh, great movie! What's happening? Nowadays, it's like they're inspecting every single plot detail, every single scripting, every single anything you can find. Somebody tweeted something about possibly liking this episode of this. That means they're in the show. And it's like ridiculous amounts of that. So you know what? I'm going to change my mind. I think they would not have been able to keep it.
Jarvis,
We
what
didn't
did you
get
think of the movie?
we didn't get spoiled. Like the Kylo Ren Ben Solo thing didn't get spoiled.
People had a good idea. I think people had a good idea.
No, but still, you're sure you might have gotten the idea, but I still feel like sure there will be like YouTube comments that spoil it, but I think people are afraid of spoilers, and like it's always monitored who spoils something, so it gets deleted straight away. I think it's possible to stay in the clear if you want to. Like I think you and me, I think you and me, Paul, have done like when The Force Awakens came out. I think you and me both like we're going on like a total blackout from the internet till we see the movie because just
but that's a choice we're making. I'm saying, would it be spoiled in terms of like I think it would get out and people would be able to find it if they wanted to. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, like you can do your job if you don't want to be spoiled, you can do a lot of preparation, do your job. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't get out there somewhere. And that's partially, yes, that's kind of what I mean. I kind of think you kind of knew what they were going for with it at that point. So it made sense that was the case. So,
yeah.
And what was your other question, Maddie?
What was the second question?
Do you think with all the the reveals we get now with MCU stuff and like all these big reveals,
would it hit
do you
as
think
hard?
something like Luke, I'm your father, do you think that would hit as hard? Because I think people would be like, yeah, duh.
Well, again, going with Bador said, people go, oh, father means father in German, so probably automatically wouldn't hit as hard only because people are so.
Does Vader really mean father in German?
Actually, it's
Dutch, I think,
Vater, like Vater.
Right.
Okay.
But Darth is like dark, so it's like dark father, basically. And
Yeah.
you're like, you pretty much know what it is in a way. So I would say it probably wouldn't hit quite as hard only because of everything that's gone down. But it's kind of funny to think about. That hadn't happened. Like, I feel like that is the zeitgeist of big movie twists. Like, if that hadn't happened, what would be our go-to for like the movie twist that would have shocked the world or whatever? Would it be?
Yeah.
Would it be like Sixth
Sixth
Sense?
Sense? Yeah.
Maybe. That's exactly what it was. I think it was kind of that way.
Like that? No, not even the Thanos snap.
It's not really a twist. That's something that happened that's surprising. There's a difference.
What is
There you
it?
go. No, I am.
Oh, the Mephisto stuff has gone way out.
I like that, Galactus.
It's gone too far now.
And that's true. Over
Yes,
out there.
that was a perfect moment in The Simpsons.
Oh, man.
Oh no.
All right, Jared, what did you think about, what were your thoughts on Empire? Like, what is your relationship with the movie?
Empire wasn't one of the Star Wars movies that I watched that was growing up. That there weren't really any iconic scenes that I remember from Empire. Mine was Return of the Jedi and the moments there, and A New Hope for some reason. Like, but Empire, I don't know, maybe because Empire is I'd say the most cerebral of the three and the most like the darkest. So as a kid, it probably stayed off my radar, and to this day, it's actually like my third favorite Star Wars movie. But I would definitely say that it's the best Star Wars movie, like objectively speaking. But my favorite, like my number one, is always going to be Revenge. My second one is actually Return of the Jedi, which is my favorite of the OG trilogy. And then comes Empire.
I will say that growing up, I was with you. Empire was probably my least favorite of the original trilogy because it was dark, because it wasn't quite as fun and adventurous. Like, to me, it was always, I think back in the day, it was Return, Star Wars, and Empire. That's how I would have ranked them. Nowadays, it's just a lot different, and I've kind of grown through it. Now I've totally flipped that around, because I think Return has the most problematic stuff in it overall, even though Return has, like, the throne room in Return. Probably we'll get into that when we talk about Return of the Jedi. It's my favorite. Probably my favorite sequence in all Star Wars, I must say. Probably, if I have to really think about
Which
it.
sequence?
The throne room, Luke and Vader.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's key. But at the same time, now, but I've grown to appreciate that Empire is probably the most complete, full-on movie, even though, and maybe because it was one of the only movies I can remember, like, the bad guys pretty much win. Like, I mean, yeah, it's hopeful at the end. Yeah, they're gonna go get rescued. But at the end of the movie, like, Luke has his hand cut off. Like, Han's in freaking carbonite with Boba Fett going to Jabba the Hutt. I mean, the Empire whooped their ass. They whipped the Hoth base is destroyed.
Yeah,
I mean, everything is
on Hoth. I'm just gonna interject real quick. Like, I was thinking, like, the comments, like Star Wars for kids, and it's like there's a scene where Han Solo guts an animal and shoves his friend in there. Like, that's not for kids. You see the guts and everything. It's dark.
And just so you know, nowadays Revenge of the Sith is my number 2. So
yes,
it is Empire than Revenge of the Sith. Still,
I
don't know how that's. But that's another story. Okay, so why don't we do with this? After we talk about our initial thoughts and sequences and stuff, we could go into a couple of different segments and how we break it down. But of course, before that, I just want to say we're at 582.1K on Hamilton.
Hell yeah.
582.1K. So
I thought that's how many viewers we have at the moment. So we're growing. We're slowly growing.
That's how many subscribers
we can do better
to the channel.
Let's get 300K likes as well. Come on, guys. Let's bring
those likes and views aren't matching up.
Hit the notification bell.
The notification. I don't think I've ever said hit the notification bell.
Which is the most actually important thing in YouTube.
I know.
I've heard. So, like, I don't know.
I know.
All right. The first segment we get to is best performance. And this is, whatever you want to talk about, what actor or creature or whatever had the best overall performance of the film. I had a couple different. I'll start with this one. I'll take this one first. I had a couple different ideas in this one. I loved Frank Oz's Yoda. I thought he did an amazing job because, it's always been a well-known story that if Yoda doesn't work, the Muppet doesn't work, then the whole thing's lost. Pretty much. That's what that was a scary part.
The little shit.
The little shit doesn't work. The whole thing's sunk. And Frank Oz made it work. So that, to me, is amazing how he did that. And you don't think that you're laughing at calling him a Muppet. That's what he is. He was made by the same company, voiced by one of the Muppets themselves. But you don't think of him that way because he was that fully
realized the character. Muppets? Frank
Oz voices the Muppets. So yeah, he voices Grover. He voices Miss Piggy. He's a big voice.
Whoa. You're blowing my mind here.
Voices.
Yeah, he does a lot of the Muppets. Almost like
I didn't know that.
Seriously. Yeah. Even that.
So, he realized that Yoda really is a Muppet.
Is this how you feel always? Like, is this what it feels like?
I know. So, that's what I do. I want to give a lot of props to Frank Oz because he made that work. But if I'm going to be truthful to myself, this may be cliched, but to me, this is Han Solo's movie. This is Harrison Ford best performance as Han Solo. This is the Han Solo I don't care about
for sure.
Star Wars, New Hope, Empire, Force Awakens, or Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi was actually probably Harrison Ford's least. He kind of felt more gimmicky and more clumsy in Return of the Jedi. Empire was just this was solid base. It was a little more serious than A New Hope, a little dark. He sort of spotted that kind of thing. And the Han and Leia love story, even if it is maybe a little problematic nowadays comparatively, it works. And it works well. And it works well for those characters, kind of thing. So, from the get-go, right from the beginning, you have Manhoth. You have him being this, really lone star. And I say it's funny because that's what his name is in Spaceball. Basically, the parody is his name. He's this lone guy, lone wolf. He's not really belonging with the rebels. He's kind of just doing his thing, but he's loyal to his people. He's going to get I don't care what you guys say. I'm going to get Luke. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get my friend, and we're going to bring him home. But he kind of comes in and out. But he's funny. He's humorous. He's still got that kind of rogue's edge where he's not like completely all in the rebellion, even if he really is. If he doesn't, he's kind of like he's in the rebellion, doesn't know it yet. Like he'll still help and he'll do everything he can, but at the same time, his heart's still pulling to go get rid of the debt that Jabba had and everything else. But this is great all the way around. It's some of the most quotable lines from Han Solo all come from Empire Strikes Back. You watch the romance bloom between Han and Leia. There's nothing I don't like about Han in this movie at all. I mean, even going down to, let's put it this way, probably my favorite line of the movie is one of the most famous ones. I love you. I know. And it's so perfect that Harrison Ford has come in and said he ad-libbed it a little bit. They went through it. They didn't like the line. The original line was supposed to be, the original line I believe was,
I love you too,
because I'll be back.
Oh, really?
I remember that because I'll be back. That was the original line or something like that. And like they didn't like it. But he did. They tried others. I love you also, or something like that. They tried a couple ones. He tried one that I kind of like would have been interested to see his take on. He did try one which was yeah. Which I could have seen Han doing it. Like yeah. I kind of think about it. I think Harrison Ford could actually have pulled that off and made it sound like still kind of like, oh, that's him saying he loves you. But the last take, I believe it was the last take they took. He did that. He just went. I know, and like it was almost like. That's it.
That's the one.
And George Lucas, famously, or I don't know how famously, but at least I remember reading about this. George Lucas didn't want to use that take because he was worried people would laugh at it. And
there was a lot of scripts, like bumping heads about the scripts.
He wasn't sure about that. And he saw it in a screener, a test audience screener, and he was like, he saw the test audience screener. The test audience screener did like they might have chuckled a little bit, but they understood it. And George went, okay, it stays. I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that mystical one. The mystical one from the FCL joining us. Good to see you, Mr. Marr. Always good to see you. He's a big Star Wars guy. This guy knows. He could take.
Yeah, we've appeared on the Holocron a few times together.
Yes, he's a good dude. Good dude. But anyway, so to me, that right there was the whole. That sums up Han Solo's character perfectly for me, and everything about it. From it built on what he started with A New Hope, and it just went. And took it to a new level. So Harrison Ford is my choice for best performance of the Empire Strikes Back.
There's no other choice. I feel like they're.
Now, do you have anybody different then, or are you gonna follow?
No. I mean, my original thought was Yoda, but then I realized Yoda's kind of a dick in this movie.
What?
Yoda's kind of a little prick in this movie, like. When he's trying to take the lamp away from R2, and R2's like, no, fucking give it back. And Yoda's like, no, fucking give it
And
here.
he should know R2. Like, they've been through
okay,
stuff
all right,
together.
no, okay. I'm going to give my serious one, but I need to give an honorable mention to R2-D2 because he was there when Luke and Leia were born, and he let them make out. He was in the fucking room. He didn't have his memory wiped. He was there when they were born, and it was like he was sitting back just going, you stupid fucking human.
Well, to be fair, he sees a kiss happening. What's he gonna do? Oh fuck.
Well, apparently they can understand him. So,
or just have this moment where this is the one moment when he speaks with words, just like no.
Mark just like also I got one of his hands shoots out or his like electrocutes Luke. What are you doing?
No.
And, like this is another thing. Like Luke is supposed to be like this all-powerful Jedi, powerful in the Force. They later in the very end of the movie, they're talking to each other through the Force. Don't you think like instead of like leaning back on the bed like that, being like, oh yeah, like you would think he would be like, wait a minute, that didn't feel right. Because in Return of the Jedi, she says it felt like I was kissing my brother. Yeah, Luke's laying back there. He's like, oh, yeah. I got it, Han. Like, I missed the Playboy. But going to my original pick, my actual pick, Han is the man. R2 is the biggest dickhead ever. Yeah.
R2's like, it sucks to be you.
You made out with your sister.
Like, Yoda is a dick because R2 knew the Yoda too. And R2's like, all right, he could have said at any time, look, fuck it. This is Yoda, you idiot.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. He's like, I don't know if this guy get fucked.
And they kiss at the very end of the movie as well. Like Leia gives him a kiss, like a just like a smooch or whatever, but still they do it twice.
But like the
Shit.
first time they like properly make out.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
This is the one. That's the one she says. I've always known. Really? Then you're a little feisty there, Leia.
Hey, man,
Does that mean that the script wasn't like they didn't know what they were doing in the storyline?
This was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
Well, no. Lucas always had
there's images I will
ideas.
never get out of my head now. Thanks, Maddie.
Lucas had ideas, and he did switch it up. That's what it basically what came up with. He had his idea that he planned. Because I remember what happened initially. That the whole end of episode 6 was supposed to happen in episode 9. That was the initial idea, but because he didn't think he was ever going to make any more after 6, he's like, "Well, I got to end this. So I'm just going to bring everything in." And unfortunately, I think that deleted a character that was going to Luke's sister was going to be introduced later on. And so then when they truncated it, like we can't introduce a new character now, it doesn't make any sense. So we'll just make Leia the sister now. Yeah, so Leia wasn't supposed to be the sister.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Otherwise, George would.
And back in the 70 days, you're kind of like,
True.
I bet you somebody come in and goes, George, you had him kiss last episode. He's kind of like,
But
fuck it.
Han's the man in this movie. Like he rescues Luke. He has all the cool one-liners. He gets them through the asteroid field and away from the Exegorth. He has all the connections to get them into hiding. And when the woman he's been chasing this whole time finally says, "I love you," he just goes, "Yeah, I know."
I know.
There was one other really cool dude, one of the coolest dudes in all of Star Wars that I feel like deserves a credit, and that's Billy Dee.
Billy Dee is the man.
Han,
old buddy.
Han, old buddy. I'm so sad that they didn't have him say Han in The Rise of Skywalker. Like, why did they have to change it back?
Yeah, he should have said Han.
That was his thing, and this actually brings me to another point. Like the way they pronounce places and names in all of Star Wars. This at the very beginning of the movie, there was when Obi-Wan says to Luke, "You got to go to he says like Dagobah system." You're like, "Oh wow, what? Sorry, Alec, what did you say? Dagobah system?
Dagobah?
Well, I guess we're going with Dagobah." and at the end of the movie, Luke says, "We will meet you on Tatooine." No, he says Tatooine. Or he doesn't say Tatooine.
Tatooine?
It says Tatooine or something. Yeah, Tatooine is what it says.
And this is the one I was going to bring up. Yeah, Princess Leia in the first film was Leia. General Dodonna says Leia.
And I love that. I love
that too.
Mispronouncing stuff.
Because people, that's real life. People say things all the time differently. And that's the way it should be. I like to actually make it feel really different in a way. Real quick, to say, yes, the Lee Brackett draft is a very, very interesting read. That's when they had to, George really decided to go a different way with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of interesting points in there. Definitely, if you ever get a chance to read it, it's online and you can read it online. It's pretty an interesting read. And yes, there are some deleted scenes that had Luke and Leia having more romantic affection. They edited it out. Thank God at this point. I'm glad it happened. It wouldn't have worked out very well with them otherwise. Or else we're going to a new section of Star Wars Pornhub. But that's totally different section. Totally different film.
Save it for the After the Dark episode, guys.
The After Dark episode. That's where we're also talking about
so
Ahsoka.
many good ideas.
Talk about Ahsoka.
Oh, no.
We're getting dark. We're getting really dark now. But in a film about for children, for Christ's sake. Anyway. All right, so you're right. And one more performance that you kind of want to. It's not even a performance, but I have to put it there for any other reason. Is because is for General Veers. He's a badass guy. The better Imperial guy, he's a backstory. You just watch him. Julian Glover's just there. You know he's badass. He does his job. He's one of the Imperial officers. Doesn't seem to be affected by Vader. He's like, I'll do what I need to do, and I gotcha. And he just does his thing. I liked him in the role as well. So there's that. But otherwise, it's Han's movie. It's definitely Han's movie,
Definitely.
And that's why it's my favorite. I mean, growing up, honestly speaking, at this point, I'm a Han Solo stan. I've always been a Han Solo stan. Hell, that's what made me cry when I saw the Force Awakens trailer. I'm not gonna lie, I cried like a little baby.
Yep.
At Chewie, bro.
Oh my God. I remember where I was the first time it came out as well. I'll tell you guys later because that's also an After Dark episode kind of topic, but yeah.
So Jarvie was in the porn club.
Well, I wouldn't say club. Not exactly a club.
I was about to say something really. I really got to stop, or else we're going to go to a different
Let's
direction.
stop.
Yeah.
Let's keep going for our fist pump moments.
That is true too. Actually, by the real quick, Mr. Kumar just say they did it. They did a cool episode where they took like, original ideas and put to a comic. That was actually a lot of fun to read as well. Very different as well. But yeah, next is the fist pumps of Empire Strikes Back, and let's be honest. I'll tell you guys this. I'll tell everybody this that are watching. We completely ripped this off. This is the Ben and Drew special from Action Movie Anatomy. We liked it so much we just had to take it. Not even like change it at all. We're just like, this is completely a fist pump moment. Which is when you see those movies, you're watching something, you're like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. Oh my god, I gotta go. Jarvie, I don't care what you're doing. Put on Empire Strikes Back at 40 minutes and 35 seconds. What? I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you're puking. You go, you get your ass out there with a bucket and you watch it right now.
I don't care if you're in the Star Wars section of Pornhub. Get to watch an Empire.
Perfect place. Watch it now.
Your heart I will come back. Just watch this right now. Come on. But that's it. Fist pump moment. I'll let you guys start since I started off with best performance. Matty Gunner, what are your fist pump moments of Star Wars?
Okay, so the biggest fist pump moment, it comes pretty early on. It's when they get the tow cables around the AT-AT. They're trying to figure out how they're gonna beat the AT-ATs, and they're like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Tow cables around the legs, trip them up. You know, they pull the old sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg. There it is.
They put the old sweep the leg, and the AT-ATs came down. That was probably one of my biggest.
Can we get that meme now? You have we'll show the snow speeders flying around, and you just flash back. And there's John Kreese. Sweep the leg.
John Kreese appears as a Force Ghost.
You get Johnny Lawrence in the cockpit of the snow speeder.
Sweep the leg, Luke. Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg.
But and just seeing Boba for the first time, that was a pretty fist bump moment. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yes, Julian Glover is a good dude, man. And then yes, Spider-Man. That's true. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite MCU quotes in a way.
Mm-hmm. A bit really old movie.
You hate them and love at the same time. But what about you, Jared? What's your fist bump moment?
So there's like all of the iconic ones, but I just figured I'd write down some of the ones that got to me like this latest rewatch. I just finished the movie like I don't think like an hour and a half ago, just before we went live. I watched it again, and the moments that keep getting me, and like the same thing happened in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's when the iconic themes come on for the very first time. It happened when Han and Leia on Hoth, like they came face to face for the first time. You got that love theme in there.
Yep.
And I think the biggest one was when Luke realizes that the little puppet right there is actually Yoda. And that moment, just because I know it's coming. I know the twist. Obviously, it's not even a big twist. When the music comes on, it says, "But I can train him." Like, and just and it had such an effect on me this time around. I've got no idea why, but the music, that moment, I felt like it wasn't like a fist bump, like fuck yeah moment, but it was just like a goosebump moment that I just enjoyed the heck out of.
I'm gonna say it right now. Mine's sort of similarly related. I mean, initially, probably, honestly, I Love You, I Know is one of my fist bumps on it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, since I already used that, I want to try something different. I loved the moment. It's partially because of the music. Luke is like hanging off the weather vane underneath Cloud City.
Yeah.
He like reaches out to Ben and nothing. Gets nothing because Ben already told him he's not going to help him at that point, or whatever. He couldn't help him. And he reaches out to Leia, flips back to Leia, and the Force theme starts. Looks like Jarvie froze, and we're going to bring it back. There he is again. We got two Jarvies now. But wait, now Luke, double the Jarvie, double the fun. But he reaches out to Leia.
That's in the sex talk, by the way.
Nice. He reaches out to Leia. And there's this great moment where it just shows Leia close up, and you hear her, you see her like feeling Luke in the Force, or whatever, and that music starts playing. Like it's like Leia has the fucking Force too. It's the only thing that made sense. Like you didn't realize that because like you kind of.
Is everything okay?
Everything's okay. I think we adored sticks after the sled. Hold on.
Okay, Maddie, we'll keep talking now.
we'll keep talking.
I caught out at the very. I think his fist bump was when Luke calls out to Leia, and we find out that Leia's force sensitive.
Yeah, and like the Force theme starts to swell, and this is terrible. Alan Smith, I can't highlight. Why can't I highlight the comments, Paul? This is terrible. Oh, that Paul's got it. Great. Now I'm running the show. Listen, look at me. I'm the captain now.
Let's go,
Admiral. Yep, I am now the Admiral. So I guess there's nothing else to do but move on to our next point, which was our least favorite moment. Javi, well, how do you find a least favorite moment in the most perfect movie ever made?
I honestly gave up trying to come up with one because I was thinking, like, I was trying to force some moments, but like, so I don't like completely cop out. I'd say and this excludes Harrison Ford, but I feel it actually kind of works for him as well at some points. But I would just say like the weakest part of the entire movie or the OG trilogy is like the wooden acting, but it's kind of become part of the trilogy and like the magic of it. I think that's the only thing that I could knock on is maybe some of the clunky moments that come up with the acting. Like there was one funny moment where I think Vader was talking. I think it was Veers, and there was someone behind him, and like Vader was starting to turn around, but I don't think the actor realized that the other guy was really close to him. So you can kind of see that Vader was like, "Whoa!" Finished his line and then just walked off.
Yeah, the acting is kind of robotic, but I feel like that's just the style at the time, and that's what like George wanted. So like, who the fuck are we to say what the door in the chat saying easy Luke and Leia?
No, but that's.
I mean, you gotta leave that in there just because you don't get the conversation we just had.
Exactly.
Without the kiss, for me it would be, and like it's a cool sequence, but I could really do without the Exegorth stuff. The big giant worm in the asteroid. It's a great sequence, don't get me wrong. And we're probably about the combination between me saying that and Paul leaving the show. Our views are probably about to fucking plummet. But I feel like you could put something equally as cool or cooler there. Like maybe you could shoot back to Vader and like see how they're getting hold of all these bounty hunters and like putting together the plan to capture Luke and Han and everything. Part of me is just like, is there really a massive point to that sequence?
I think I know why that scene was in there. And I think it was, I don't know if it was Kirshner, or
yes.
George Lucas. He was like, I want to have an alien moment in this one. Because the whole sequence kind of reminded me of Alien so much, like when the thingy comes up on the window, like it looked like the face hugger.
So Paul, I don't know if we were just going through our least favorite moments. Javi, he was basically saying it was kind of like the robotic acting. Mine was I could have done without the Exegorth scene, the sequel in the asteroid field. Like it's cool, I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like there could have been something cooler there.
Interesting. I had a very hard time coming up with something I really didn't like. I loved
exactly what I said.
The only thing I could ever point at is a line read that one person did, and in a way, I actually like it even better because it's Hobby when he two fighters against a Star Destroyer.
Yep.
That line reading is a little bad.
I was like, yep.
It's one of the worst line readings I think in the history of movies.
What was the actual line? Say it again.
That's two fighters against a Star Destroyer. It's really bad. Like even like the line you look at them too. He's like standing there, pilot's outfit or pilots see your get up. Two fighters against a Star Destroyer. It's like you obviously have no idea what you're saying. You don't even know what you're there for. You're obviously the carpenter from like the third carpenter from the left or whatever. They like, get him in there and say the line. It's fine.
You know what's
this cabinet minister.
You know what's another one is when he's getting into the thing and he goes, right now I feel like I could take on the whole empire myself. I'm like, but you couldn't.
That's Jack.
Luke goes, you said it.
You said it.
There was like these long pauses I love these moments, but there's like weird long pauses, weird turns that just happened, I guess, in the 80s and 70s, but still, it's kind of clunky, but still, it's part of
More
the whole
clunky.
series. So
Yes,
clunky.
yes, it was. That's true. That's true. I think that's why I said it. I think I said it in that match actually, exactly for that exact reason. Uh, but yeah, that is probably my least favorite. I don't think I have it on a least favorite. To me, I can't think of anything.
Really
I love
tough.
the Excalibur scene. To be honest with you, I think it fits well enough.
Mm.
Especially if they have. I think. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I mean, in the beginning, back in the day, if I had to pick something, back in the day, like leading up to the Hoth battle was a little slow for me. But that was as a kid. Nowadays, I love that level of Han stuff going on and everything else. I mean, part of me, I guess, in the days wanted to get rushed to get to the Luke and Vader confrontation.
Mm.
But that's on me, not on the film. So
Okay, I've got a. This applies to all of the 4, 5, 6. The lightsaber, like this, the lightsaber fighting, like not the emotional weight behind it, but the physicality of the lightsaber fights. I'd say,
Not great.
right? It's not great,
well,
but
yeah,
still,
but
like
it
again,
makes
we're like exactly, we're coded to love it now. We're so used to it. It's part of it. It's why we love it. But if you had to, you could nitpick them.
But the thing is, I get, but in a way, I can't nitpick it because it makes sense. Luke is not a trained Jedi. He doesn't really
Well,
have
but
a lot of
Vader
time to
is.
sort.
Vader.
Or Vader also at this point, if you read how Vader's supposed to be and what
Well,
Lucas
he's
has
slow
said,
and big.
is
Yeah.
he's a cripple now. He's an old
Mhm.
man who's a machine, more machine. That I mean, we have this vision in our head of Vader being such a badass and like he can take on the Empire. And it kind of switched around. They showed you Rogue One. You see that now that you've seen him in action. But George's initial ideas was that Vader was a broken down, nowhere near the level he used to be. That's what he initially had, and why those fights were so slow. So I can't really judge that because that's what the intention was. You know what I'm saying? But I understand what you mean. I like a good sword fight. I'd like to see a good, solid, like fucking etiquette and Obi-Wan flipping around and having fights like that. That's what I'd want. But it is what it is. But I get what you're saying about it. I do definitely get what you're saying about it. Real quick, I want to throw in there. Oh, that's awful news. I'm going to say Ed Haskell let me know. Semi Star Wars related, but not really. Why are
What is
Michael
it?
K.
What happened?
Williams? Michael K. Williams was found dead in his apartment.
Oh man.
Oh man, that's awful news. I mean, I say partially Star Wars related because he technically was initially going to be in Solo until something happened. I guess the schedules changed. That's when he was replaced by Paul Bettany. But that's sad. That's sad. He was a phenomenal actor. Rest in peace, Michael. Yeah, wish you the best. Wish you the best. Wish you and the family the best at this point. Wow, it's sad.
Apparently, the director sent in a Streamlab.
I just saw that as well, and I opened it up. I just opened up. Thank you for letting me know. I got a little distracted here. Empire is definitely a great movie, but it wouldn't exist without the original Star Wars, and it doesn't work as a standalone movie because the bad guys win at the end. That's why you need Return of the Jedi to give you closure, and of course Ewoks. Yeah, in a way, I agree. I agree with that in a way. I do. I said something what I said before. I think that's one of the reasons why it stuck out in my mind for so long was because the bad guys won. You don't get that ever. It's that made it sound like such a cool, different experience. I mean, you talk about now, people talk about subverting expectations and people go too far to subvert expectations. It actually sounds like a bad thing nowadays because they go too far doing it. But this is like the original way they subverted expectations and it worked. It was like, oh, wow. Now I need to see part 3 of Return of the Jedi. So I get, but with that in mind, it is true that it's hard to make this a standalone movie because without Return of the Jedi, it does feel a little open. Without Star Wars building up beforehand, it feels a little weird. Couldn't start that way. So it does make sense. If that is a negative, maybe that's a negative if you had to say that. But thank you so much, Alan, for the donation. I really appreciate that. Man, great things. Great minds think alike. I guess I'll go that way. So let's move on real quick. Go on to because we got to wrap this up shortly. I got a little bit of a hard out. Favorite bit of lore, but real quick before we do that is 583.6K on the Hammer Watch. 583.6K.
That's our subscriber count.
That's our subscriber count, exactly. Going up more and more. All right, so favorite bit of lore and going to that, what we would want to see more. What is your guys' favorite? Well, I'll start with Jarvie. I'm going to start with you at this point. So
yeah, I kind of shotgun this one, trying to keep it a bit shorter. But there was this moment, maybe this has been talked about on all the Star Wars forums, but I didn't actually pay attention to this before, and it's when Luke is in the cave and he's starting to use the Force to get his lightsaber, and the Wampa reacts to him using the Force. Why does he or she react exactly at that moment? He's not making any noise. He's just using the Force, and that's the moment the Wampa reacts and comes at him. So this got me thinking. Like, first I took my phone, I was like, Wampa Force sensitive, trying to look up. Like, there actually is a legend story, I think, about a Wampa called Kukak. 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 I'm not gonna. Don't make me say this again, please. But apparently, that was a Force-sensitive male Wampa, and he was a bodyguard of a Chevin slaver, Phyllis Mon. Sounds like a very distant character. I never heard of him before. That was like a cool bit of information. So yeah, like Wikipedia didn't say anything on Wampas overall being Force sensitive, because but Wookiees are Force. Like, there's even a Wookiee Jedi in Light of the Jedi. So
absolutely.
Why not?
And
it could happen.
Extended universe as well. Chewie's son is Force sensitive. I believe Lucky is.
That would be a big fucking set of robes for a Wampa Jedi.
I gotta say, it's funny you mention that though, because I do think that I remember watching that scene and thinking the exact same thing. Why did he turn out? Why does he turn into?
Yeah.
I was wondering if the music covered up the lightsaber moving around in the ice or something. Potentially, maybe there was a sound there that we didn't hear because of the music. I don't know. But it is a cool thing.
He struggles like he makes noise.
Yeah.
No reaction. Starts using the Force and reaction straight away.
That's true. Good point. All right, Matt, what about you? What's your favorite bit of lore and what you want to say?
So my favorite bit of lore has kind of already been answered now in the War of the Bounty Hunters comic, and now you have the Crimson Reign comic. Like, that stuff's kind of been answered for me.
Right.
For me, I brought it up in a New Hope episode, but it seems like Vader is this big bad Sith Lord. He's this imposing figure, yet there seems to be a level of disrespect from the Imperial officers against him. Like, he's this wizard, he's just, it's Vader, no one cares. Like, and you have officers that openly talk back to him and openly disrespect him and openly question and go against his orders. I want to know what happened to cause that.
Okay. Interesting cop.
It feels like they're all afraid of him, though. When do they really like bark back?
Well, look at A New Hope.
In A New Hope, they do.
Oh yeah, well that's true.
And then you have here, he's like, that's the Hoth, that's the system. And they're like, yeah, but like we monitor thousands of planets, like there's thousands of probe droids everywhere. He's like, no, that's the one. Stop questioning me. Skywalker's there. Go. And they're like, yeah, but he's like, no, just go.
Well, that's Admiral Ozzel, though. We know what happens to him.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. What about you, Paul?
For me, I have to say my favorite bit of lore, probably, honestly, one that's kind of a cliche, but I do like to see more. I would like to see more of it explored in the new canon. It is the cave on Dagobah. Obviously, I know in the legends there was always big stories about how it was a dark side presence, and that's how they covered. That's how Yoda was able to cover his tracks as far as he balanced out the sides of the Force, so he was able to hide that way. But obviously, there's definitely something going on in that cave. So definitely, I want to see the history of that cave. Is it like a place like actually? Is it a Sith temple down there? Did Yoda have to go to Dagobah and clear it out at some point? Was there a presence in there that he had to clear out before he could settled in with his little hut or whatever? I mean, there's a lot of potential there. I would love to actually see somebody go back now to the cave afterwards and see what's going on there now. Is it like
maybe it's a balance thing. Like Yoda is there, he's the light side user. Like, there's always a balance in nature. He's the strong presence of the light side. Maybe him just being there, using the Force in a way that kind of brings the nature or whatever, the Force, to create a cave that is part of the dark side. So there's always dark and light.
That's an interesting idea. Maybe the planet itself was kind of fighting back in a way. That's an interesting idea. Either way, I think it's a good way to discuss. Good thing to discover. I think there could be there's a Sith temple there. That could be a lot of cool things to look into.
Another question on that topic: what do you think would have happened? Because Yoda says you don't need your weapons in there.
Right.
He still takes his belt.
Right.
He has a quick 1-2 with Vader or himself.
Right.
But Yoda says you don't need your weapons. If he
Right.
had gone in there without his weapons,
I
it probably
wonder.
would have been a very different interaction. Because it wouldn't
We
have
need-
been Vader just going, dun, dun, movie over, the end, right? That's not
We
it.
need a what if Star Wars version.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Ooh.
I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. I kind of feel like he instigated it. You only bring in what you take with you.
Right.
That's what Yoda basically said. So if he took in the aggression by putting his weapons. If he went in like a Jedi without his weapons, I don't think he would have faced Vader. He would have learned something else, but wouldn't have been as aggressive. He wouldn't have had that fight, and he wouldn't have said the K wouldn't have to tell him you continue down this path and you're going to end up being like Vader. I think it would have been a different story. That's what I think. So, real quick, so I throw this in there. Bedore saying they disrespect him because they all work to get where they are, and Vader just kind of cut in. He did some cutsies went to the top of the line. That's basically how this is a big old fashioned playground cutsies. That's why I get that. Good call, Bedore. So, but unfortunately, I would love to talk more on this. I do have a hard out. I do have somewhere I have to be, but I love talking about this movie always. So I thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Richard, for joining it. As always, and I thank the chat for hanging out. It was a great chat today. Very lively. Love hearing Bedore, Alan, Brennan, and Ryan Payne. Star Drew. I want to talk to everybody who was in here.
Copa.
Oh, that's right. Copa was there a while back. Love all you guys. Jeff, Ed, everybody else. Tim in the beginning. And Vermont Mike, you've been stopping by. Our loyal Vermont Mike. So much appreciated, guys. We'll be back. Definitely not next week, unfortunately, because I am actually away for the weekend and I won't be coming back till Monday. I'll come back Monday, but like not in time for this, unfortunately, I don't think. So we'll go back the week after that, and we'll be doing Return of the Jedi. We're doing Mark Ellis' favorite film. And Richard Jarvis is one of Richard Jarvis' favorite films, let's say. Some of my best moments in Star Wars. So we'll do that. Anyway, Jerry, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Richard Eric with a K Jarvie. And that's it.
And Maddie.
You can find me on Twitter at Matty Gunner, Instagram Matty_Gunner, Clubhouse Matty Gunner. You can find me on the Wild Jones Podcast Network every Wednesday and Sunday for the ONU MMA show. And also, I don't plug it enough, October 29th, my band Shadow of Azrael, we have our debut 3-track EP coming out, A Moment of Clarity via Homesick Records. Even if you're not into metal, share it. I've got a tweet pin. Just share it. Someone you know may like it. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And of course, here.
All right. Find me at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter. You can find me at
No, it doesn't work.
Does it work the same way?
Twitter.
Twitter. Action Industries, the weekend shows. Ben and Drew just started a new podcast, The Best and the Worst, to find on Spotify and on Google.
What's my OF?
Your OnlyFans. Wants to know your OnlyFans.
Yeah, what's your
You know what that is?
Oh shit! Okay, yeah, it's the
Star Wars
Star Wars Sex Club, whatever it was called.
Anyway, Best and the Worst. Find out Spotify and on Apple products for their new podcast. Harkens back to Days of AMA. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy it as well.
I got a bone to pick
Best
with
and
those
Worst.
two about the martial arts episode.
Yeah, Warrior. Talking about Warrior. Oh
I actually
my
haven't.
God,
I actually
so
haven't listened to
enjoyable.
the second one yet. I'm gonna do that tonight. That's my job tonight. I listened to the first one, Best and Worst of Ryan Gosling, which you can find a video on their channel. The martial arts one will be on Friday. I believe that's where they're going to put that up on the video version up on Friday instead of Unfiltered, which is no more. And besides that, you can find me on the FCL. Yeah, definitely. I've been doing more calling at the desk recently because we've had some issues, but otherwise, I'm writing the questions and producing that. That's what Brennan is, and hopefully Brennan will have a good match next time he plays up as well. He's been doing great, so good to see him in the chat here. And also, you can find me. I've been working more behind the scenes with the Movie Trivia Schmodown as well. We got some live events coming up, live events in New York. If you're in LA, you can go to the Cantina for the 12th, I believe, and I think the 25th. They got live shows there. But then the big live tour in New York on October 9th. October 7th and 8th have Mark Ellis' comedy shows. And then, of course, Spectacular, December 4th in LA. Be there. I will be there. I will be drinking, and I'll be having the party. And otherwise, yeah, that's it, I guess so. Otherwise, love you guys. See you soon. May the Force be with you always.